Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the EasyCast. I'm your host, Brian Gregoire.
Co-host Zeke Wagar.
And it's actually a beautiful weekend. I know sometimes this indicates the start of the dark times with the absence of football, although we do have the XFL to look forward to this year. But tonight we have a wonderful matchup between the Lakers and the 76ers.
So you do?
And the X Games are still on. It's just a tremendous expression of athleticism. It's great.
Yeah, I will not be watching that. But
You won't?
Yeah, no, I will not. No, thanks.
If you're here, you will.
But, good news.
What?
Tomorrow is Sunday, folks. And do you know what that means? Week before Super Bowl, what is it?
The Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm actually more, Zeke, I'll be honest, I'm more of a fan of the skill showdown.
Yeah, I'm more of a fan of going out and getting lunch. So I'll still probably watch it, but I won't be that entertained probably.
By the way, shout out to the state of Georgia for this tremendous orange right here, which they sent up to us. This is fantastic. This is why I can't wait to live down there in a couple years so I can reap the benefits of my own in my very house, make my own orange juice. Now, let's talk about making juice out of somebody. Absolutely grinding to the core, which is what the Kansas City Chiefs did to the Titans last weekend. Ultimately. Now, I want to draw an illusion, a comparison here. Do you recall back in 2013 when Florida Gulf Coast University made their run in the 2013 March Madness tournament?
Of course.
They upset Georgetown. They upset San Diego State the game after. But when they played Florida, there's a certain word for them. They were very overwhelmed. They were overwhelmed and they were outplayed, even schematically and physically. Mm-hmm. They were outcoached and they were outplayed, which is what happens to your Tennessee Titans this past weekend. Derrick Henry had 60 yards compared to his 180 the week before, so he was absolutely eliminated, which shocked me. And Tannehill, I'd say looked. He looked okay. He looked okay. I think that there were two more quarterbacks weekend that had better performances. He was middle of the pack. He wasn't tremendous, but middle of the pack. But the Kansas City Chiefs just overwhelmed them with their explosive offense and, quite frankly, momentum like Florida did to FGCU.
I mean, listen, Tennessee, I give a lot of credit for what they did this whole year. It was great.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they didn't play their best football. At the beginning of the game, for a while, they were being down on Kansas City. It was looking good, and I was pretty excited, especially when their offensive linemen's out there scoring touchdowns. I love that, man. You gotta love that. But ultimately, Arrowhead, playoff time, hard place to play as it is. Add the playoffs, man. It just didn't add up this year. It wasn't their time, and honestly, I'm happy to see Ryan Tannehill at the Pro Bowl because you know what? The kid goddamn deserves it. And they'll be back next year. They'll be back and they'll be ready. Granted, there's some young guys. There's a decent amount of old guys on the team. But draft, free agency, the culture there is very good.
Yes.
Very strong.
Yes.
So that's one good thing to look at as far as Tennessee. I think that they have a very good core there. So they can definitely build on what they did this year. It's disappointing. But I'm not upset because Patrick Mahomes is going to be in the Super Bowl. How can you be upset with that?
Yes.
The offense is electric. It's fun to watch. And that's the kind of stuff you want in the Super Bowl. So I love Tennessee. I love what they did. But all props to Kansas City. And I thought overall, in a way, it kind of had one of those feelings yet again where Kansas City started off slow, but you ultimately knew they were going to get it rolling at some point.
You had confidence that they were going to get that momentum back on the side again.
Super Bowl is going to be hard because they can't come out starting slow.
No, because you will not come back against that dynamic 49ers team.
Yeah. Ultimately, when it comes to that game, in my opinion, it's ultimately going to come down to who really controls the clock. Is really what's going to happen.
And we'll dive more into that next week because I want to have a long prediction on this game, like really dive in and analyze this. Now, here's why I think the Tennessee Titans will sustain. Number one, they have the requisite duo, coach, quarterback, Mike Vrabel, Ryan Tannehill. Number two, you have to look at the optics of their division. Jacksonville's relying on Gardner Minshew, big red X there. The Indianapolis Colts, they're the boring good guys, but they never take the risks to propel themselves to the next level.
Fair.
And then the Houston Texans, I think it's very vague, very ambiguous, just a giant question mark. Especially if they, like we explained before, continue with Bill O'Brien. So I think that it's very promising when you consider that the Titans' future with that combination. And I think that Ryan Tannehill is a great fit there. Just think about the name. I mean, the name has to match. I think about Tom Brady and his personality and how that matched with Foxborough. How about Jimmy Garoppolo in coastal California? The tan man throwing the ball around, and even Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, they're just matches. Now, what is Nashville known for? It's country music. He sounds like a country music singer, Ryan Tannehill, and he's from the South. He has the Southern personality. He just fits like a glove with the area, but he's also tremendously talented. I've seen him make incredibly accurate throws this year downfield, 55 yards, spot on in that game against Kansas City on Week 10. He looked tremendous this year, and I think that as long as they retain the pieces around him, maybe even provide him with some more.
I agree. I'm excited to see Tennessee's future. It ultimately was a good game. I was happy with whoever won. I was happy to watch it.
And Patrick Mahomes was absolutely explosive. And even if you want Tennessee, you have to be happy to see the Chiefs win because they're just such a likable team. Even Clark Hunt is likable.
It was one of those games where you were happy for both teams that they were there. Ultimately, so
like you never have a gripe. It was just what I call a happy game. You could happy-go-lucky game. You could really go. It was like my Super Bowl last year. I could have gone either way. I love the Patriots and the Rams. Like I could go either way.
That's a little different. This guy's crazy, but ultimately, that's what we thought about the overall outcome of that Tennessee-Kansas City game.
Now let's transition into the NFC Championship. Now this game was an absolute slaughterfest, but I want to commend somebody to begin, and that is the Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, what I want to illustrate here is that when you go out to dinner and you have a group of 10. There's always the guy that wants to be the focal point of attention.
Yep.
And he never wants to let anybody else enjoy the spotlight.
Yep, I hate that guy.
Jimmy Garoppolo was the opposite. When you're in a conversation, you can't disrupt the dynamic. You have to let it flow. When it is somebody else's night, you have to feed the ball to them. We are both incredibly funny people. But when it's somebody else's night and they're just on,
you gotta appreciate it.
Let them roll with it. I'm not gonna interrupt. I'm not even gonna try to combat it. You just keep on going, man, because you're sounding like Jerry Seinfeld tonight. So you just keep on rolling there, and that's exactly what Jimmy Garoppolo did. You had Mostert there. To be honest, I can't remember his first name right now because he's just Raheem. He's just newly emerged. So I'm just still getting acquainted with the guy. He had an incredible game.
Was a Dolphin.
That's right, and there was
so is Damian Williams, but whatever.
Yeah, Damian Williams and Raheem Mostert. So when somebody has an incredible game like that, you just have to hand it off to them. He had 4 rushing touchdowns, and Jimmy Garoppolo threw 8 passes. And my father said something to me when we were watching the game. I came back. I was down at your house, and I came back here, and he said to me, "Boy, I'd be awfully pissed off if I only threw the ball 8 times. I'd be like, I wouldn't. You know why? I'm up 34-20, and I'm going to the Super Bowl in my first full year as starting quarterback. I'd be freaking ecstatic." Yeah. And that's just what he had to do. It was very hands-off. Just let it flow past where he needed to. But that is what a field general does.
No doubt. And I'm tired of people talking about he only threw the ball 8 times. He didn't need to throw the ball anymore. I mean, the run game is so successful, and not only is that good, mostly for his arm, but also it kills the clock to run the ball. You can't blame Jimmy for that. I mean, look at the games against Arizona when they went to San Fran. Look how many times he threw the ball then. Look how good he threw the ball. Jimmy Garoppolo, we all know he can throw the ball when needed. Is he great at it? I'm not too sure yet. I think he's a good passer for sure. But 8 times, it is what it is. Granted, he's not going to be able to pass for only 8 times in the Super Bowl. That's just not going to fly.
No, you have to change your approach to match the team you're playing.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. As far as Green Bay goes, I I can't say that I'm surprised
No.
by any means. To all you Packers fans, I apologize. It's just that 49er team, you gotta understand, is strong at almost every aspect of the game. And when you run into a team like that on the road, going to their place, it's hard. Especially when it's a Green Bay team who do have pieces missing that they're not a full team as far as San Fran is. So, Green Bay, you guys should be happy. I mean, it sucks to think about settling for something, but you should be happy with where you got this year for what you had, for the most part.
Some people call them a fraudulent 13-3. I think that's a little extreme. I think that any team that gets to that point is deserving of it because, yes, they're there. But some paths are just simply easier.
Right.
And you have to consider how many breaks they've gotten this year. Number one, their schedule.
Yeah.
Their schedule is not that challenging at all. They play the NFC East and the AFC West. The best team, the NFC East champions, mind you, were the Philadelphia Eagles, who were freaking dilapidated all year this year. Mm-hmm. They played the dysfunctional Cowboys in Dallas, absolutely dismantled them. Now, we don't even need to mention the Giants and the Redskins, because you all know that obvious truth. And not even understand this. They played the Kansas City Chiefs with Matt Moore. They didn't face Patrick Mahomes.
They almost lost.
And they almost lost. So, and then the Chargers, which was their surprising loss of the year.
That's bad, yeah.
The Raiders, and the Broncos. So those are just huge breaks. And then their division.
Absolutely.
The Bears just suddenly imploded this year. I predict them to repeat as NFC North champions.
Detroit's Detroit.
Detroit's Detroit again, just like the Giants and Redskins, do not need to explain. And then I'll give them props for this. Swept the Vikings. But besides that, they got a lot of breaks, and even their playoff matchups.
Yeah. Also,
Seattle. So New
lucky.
Orleans lost. Who would have ever picked New Orleans to lose to Minnesota?
I mean, Green Bay's lucky they got to play home field, ultimately.
Yeah.
I think if Green Bay was away in the beginning, I don't think they're in the NFC Championship, personally.
Oh, yeah. If they went to Seattle, they would have won that game.
Yeah. So, ultimately, it was domination, just like earlier on in the year when those two met. I was disappointed because we all want to see good games. We all want to see good quality. As far as Aaron Rodgers, I got to be honest, the window, not only for Aaron Rodgers, but for the Packers, it's starting to close.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to close. So if you're Green Bay and you're serious about this, you're going to have to spend this year, and you're going to have to make a strong push because Aaron Rodgers can only go so long. And I will give him props. He was healthy all year. Aaron Rodgers was this year, which we haven't seen in a while. So that was very good. That was a big part, too. Ultimately, it wasn't the game we wanted. That was the outcome. And ultimately, it was an all right weekend for football.
And he's still ginger compared to what he got. Like he's not as dynamic as he was on the field, but as far as the 49ers, I think it's safe to say that they've done it. I think it's safe to say that not one Super Bowl, but they have assembled
a good team.
A borderline dynastic team here, and it's taken years to reconstruct after the Jim Harbaugh years.
Good drafting.
Well, I think that they are here, and I say this about very few teams. I think they are here to sustain. That they have a great core, and that's really going to be to their benefit. You have the quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. You have that fantastic wide receiving core, Kyle Shanahan at coach. Just a very well-run organization. Yes. They are not going anywhere.
So ultimately, we're excited for the Super Bowl. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. I'm sure you guys are excited. And that's how we felt about the championship games.